come now to our Friday feature movie spotlight, where our film critics give us their recommendations on what to watch over the weekend among the latest releases here in Korea. And this week, they're back for the first time in a while. We have our original duo with us in the studio. First, we have with us Jason Bechervaise. Jason, hello. It's great to see you.
Yeah, hello, Jay.
And we also have with us Darcy Paquet. Darcy, hello to you too.
Yeah, happy to be back.
Okay, so it's finally time. We are starting this week with our review of the highly anticipated new feature by the Oscar-winning director Bong Joon-ho. The film is, of course, Mickey 17, and it has the same title in Korean. And actually, for us here in Korea, we're reviewing it a week late, as it was released in Korea last week, but because we had no show last Friday, we are just getting to it now. But it is getting its US release today, so it is just in time for that. So, Jason, of course, this is your pick this week, as you are
proudly so
a Bong Joon-ho superfan. Can you set up for us?
Sure. So this is the latest movie from Bong Joon-ho. It's delayed a couple of times, much to my dismay. It was initially meant to be released, March last year, pushed back because of the strikes in Hollywood. So it's pushed back to January. Then it was April this year, and then it was brought forward to February, March. All very, very confusing. But once the PR campaign finally got into it, actually, I think it's been pretty good, pretty effective. This is Bong Joon-ho's first kind of big mega Hollywood kind of tentpole. He's worked on English language productions before, of course, Okja, which is a Netflix film, Snowpiercer, which was a Korean film, both featuring Hollywood stars. But this is somewhat bigger in scale. It stars Robert Pattinson as Mickey, this expendable. He's essentially part of a colonizing expedition in this faraway planet that is full of these creepers set in the year 2058. Now, he's basically expected to die, like literally, and then a new Mickey is printed out. And we discover from his time on Earth, because the film flashes back, that he is in need of an escape plan from Earth, owing to a loan shark that's is hunting him down. And so he's hurriedly kind of trying to get off the planet, and he takes up this new job, but doesn't really read the small print, and he's essentially this human guinea pig, and he's sent out on death missions. It's based on Edward Ashton's book Mickey 7, and I would say it follows it pretty closely, particularly in the first half. As he's able to avoid death on one of his tasks, and basically a new Mickey is printed out, but there's now two Mickeys. Leading the expedition is the rather unpleasant couple played by Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette, while Nasha, Mickey's girlfriend, is played by Naomi Aki, and she plays quite a key role in the film. Stephen Yeun is Mickey's former partner in crime on Earth. But his role in the book is quite large, actually, but in the film less so.
Right, we don't have a lot of time, so we've got to get straight into it, Jason.
It's great. This is Bong Joon-ho film. What do you expect? I had all these high expectations. I was very fortunate to see it before it was released on the big IMAX screen in Yongsan. And Bong's worlds are just they're just so compelling. They're so layered, and I'm keen to get to watch it again. Visually, just really spectacular. It's full of his kind of critique of capitalism. Feels very relevant to this day. Clearly there are figures in the film that correspond to real life figures that we see on television screens all the time, unfortunately. That you've seen that in movies like Snowpiercer. Tilda Swinton is there is parallels there to Margaret Thatcher. So a lot of critique about capitalism, which is what you expect in his films. It's been compared to Snowpiercer and Okja, his kind of English language movies. I don't think it's quite up there to the standard of his Korean films. But nevertheless, it's still, really, really good. It's unique. I mean, I don't think there's a blockbuster quite like it. It's wacky, it's eccentric, it's full of his humor and yeah, it takes you in all sorts of unexpected ways and directions. And so, yeah, I think it's terrific.
Right, so Jason, unsurprisingly,
Yeah, and
won
surprisingly,
over.
I mean, Bong Joon-ho, let's be honest, he cannot make a bad movie. So, you know, he delivers the goods. I will say that.
Well, Darcy, what do you think? Although we should say, though, that I understand that you originally helped out with some of the translation from Korean to English when the screenplay was being written. So you have some skin in the game in this film as well. But still, what did you make of it?
Yeah, in a very minor way, I contributed, just kind of mostly making suggestions. Yeah, I mean, I think that, I agree that Bong Joon-ho can't make a bad film. It's been really interesting to see the film's reception because it does seem to be quite different in the US and Korea. And, you know, when you watch it from the US perspective and compare it to other kind of blockbuster releases coming out of Hollywood, I mean, it's so different. It's so kind of more, I don't know, unique, and the humor is quite unusual. I mean, here in Korea, the reception is really kind of black and white. I mean, some people really like it, other people have been really critical. I think that here in Korea, people are probably comparing it much more to Parasite, to Memories of Murder. And when you do that, you know, it is a very different kind of film. I get the feeling that the Korean audience kind of prefers his Korean language films. And it's true that 3 of his last 4 films have been kind of English language, primarily English language films. So yeah, I mean, he announced recently that he's doing a kind of a horror film set within the Seoul subway. And so I was quite excited to hear that. And I am very much looking forward to that. And, you know, for Mickey 17, I did really enjoy it. You know, it is a really wild ride. It's different from Parasite. Don't go in expecting Parasite. But if you go in with the right expectations, I think it's a lot of fun.
Right, so Jason, a wild ride. As we said, Bong Joon-ho, he probably can't make a bad film. But is it a great film, though? I think because it does seem to have split some audiences, and I'm not sure how it's doing at the box office as well. The expectations are for it, especially overseas.
Well, it's a very expensive movie. It's budgeted over $100 million, so it needs around $300 million to break even, actually, which in today's ecosystem is very challenging. It's doing quite well in Korea, 1.4, 1.5 million tickets sold, $10 million in revenue. I don't think it's going to go as it won't do Parasite business in Korea. That sold 10 million tickets. And yeah, I mean, in North America, I've been looking at some of the predictions. It's really hard because obviously his previous film was a Korean language movie, and it's also dystopian science fiction, which is quite niche. And so it's predicted to do somewhere between 18 million and 20 million this weekend, with a global weekend of around 40 to 45 million. But I'm quoting Variety here, and they said it will need at least 17 lives on the big screen to justify its hefty price tag. So, yeah, I mean, for it to break even, I think it needs significant legs. And I do think it will have legs because people are getting behind it. I mean, it's got, in terms of its reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and Rotten Tomatoes, there are issues there looking at that. But it's 85%, which is on par with Okja, but then lower than his Korean language films, Parasite, which is at 99%. And so I think that's an indication where the critical consensus is. And so I think for it to kind of hit 300 million, I mean, as much, I'm a huge fan of Bong Joon-ho. I love the film, but I will be surprised to see it hitting that. But who knows? Miracles do happen with Bong. So there you go.
Okay, so that was Mickey 17, out now at the box office in Korea and now in the US as well. Let's turn to our second feature this week, and it's a rather small-scale coming-of-age Korean film. It's called It's Okay, with an exclamation mark at the end of it. In Korean, it's called 괜찮아, 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 and it's a debut film by director Kim Hae-young, and it features the well-known star Lee, and it's doing better than expected at the box office, right, Darcy? This is your pick this week?
Yeah, it is. I've been trying to figure out where to place this film, kind of on the spectrum from commercial to independent, because if you consider it to be an independent film, it's doing extremely well. It's like making, in a day what a lot of films make during their entire release. If you compare it to mainstream commercial films, it's more modest. But it is a film that people seem to really like. And, I've been hearing people talking about it, and its release here does follow up a pretty successful career on the international festival circuit as well. So it debuted at Busan in 2023, won the top award at the Berlin Film Festival's Generation section in 2024, which is a section for films for young people. And then it went to the Sydney Film Festival and many other film festivals around the world. So it's good to see it open here. It's good to see it kind of well received.
Right. So it sounds very promising. What's the setup of the film?
So the main character, played by Ide, is a high school girl, and she performs in a traditional Korean dance troupe. At the very beginning of the film, she loses her mother in a car accident, and it's one of those horrible jump out at you, shock you moments where everything seems fine, and then there's a sudden car crash.
Well, I mean, in Korean movies, they're often
their whole
car crashes.
They love to just
to
startle
you. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you, Darcy, but I couldn't resist.
Yeah. The main action of the film takes place a year later. She's still kind of managing to get by despite the fact that she doesn't have a father. So she's now an orphan. And then her landlord kicks her out because she can't pay rent. So her dance troupe's famously strict artistic director, who's played by Jin So-yeon, discovers her living in the dance studio, after hours, and reluctantly brings the girl home. And, basically, the ironic twist of this film is that, this is a girl who's completely alone. She's obviously in need of much help. And yet she has this really bright, positive attitude. And she ends up kind of helping the people around her more than she receives help herself. Okay.
And what did you think of it, Darcy?
Yeah, I like the film a lot. I think that it's, it's funny in parts. It does really effectively kind of walk the line between humor and then, taking the emotions of the characters very seriously. There are lots of interesting characters in the film, and I'm kind of excited about the director too. She was assistant director on this smash comedy Extreme Job that a lot of people will be familiar with. She directed a series as well, Be Melodramatic, and I like the way she handled this because it's a small scale, but it has a sense of humor. It's willing to kind of bend reality a little bit to be a bit more entertaining, but she balances a lot in the course of presenting this story, and I thought that the end result was quite good.
Right, so well-balanced story, somewhere between a drama and a comedy, you're saying, right?
Yes.
Jason, as I think we can tell from your earlier rude interruption, that you have seen this film as well. Can you give us your quick two-sentence summary for us as well?
Yeah, I'm just reading my notes from Busan. Unashamedly a crowd pleaser, uplifting film. The lead is infectious with a smile, very affecting. Had a total blast with this movie. So it's great. Actually, I saw it doing well. It's great leads, strong production values, and Son Seok-gyu as the kind of pharmacist is quite fun too.
Yeah, really interesting cameo there.
Yeah, really interesting cameo. So highly recommended. It's total crowd pleaser, and if you can't see it, try and see it in a cinema. But if you can't, check it out later.
Okay, and that film is called It's Okay. And that's where we wrap up our movie spotlight this week. Jason, Darcy, as ever, thank you for your reviews, and we'll see you guys again next time.
Yeah, take care.
Bye-bye.